What is up, rockers? Today in this video, we're going to talk about top 5 commanders that are not actually good for your investment in Rise of Kingdoms. These commanders are absolutely, I would say, trash. It's a waste of investment. So let's get on with this. My name is Shinchi42. If you guys want to see more Rise of Kingdoms content, consider subscribing and also smack that like. Now, I want to ask you guys before we actually start this, I'm going to give my piece. Of course, every single one of us have differences of opinion in here. What is your top 5 in the whole Rise of Kingdoms that you think is absolutely trash, like should never even work on? So I want to know your list in here. I'm sure this is going to be very interesting because every single one of you guys will have all differences of, top 5 in here, right? Maybe some of you guys will have YSG. I mean, I'll be very surprised if you guys have YSG on your top 5 trash commanders, because YSG is one of the best ones. So YSG is not on our list in here. So I was looking into the heroes that I have, or the commanders I have in here. I've been looking at some of the commanders that I have never unlocked, and there's some reasons why I never even unlocked them. And I've been thinking, like, man, some of these commanders were really never been used by many of the players in the game. Let's just, for example, start with Moctezuma. This is a MGE commander. People had to compete for Moctezuma. I never really see Moctezuma being used in Rise of Kingdoms. Maybe we saw it a few times, but not really. Like, who uses Moctezuma? Not even for... I don't even know what's the purpose for Moctezuma. Like, I mean, 1400 damage factor, counter-attack damage reduction by 15%, peacekeeping legendary on a MGE. Wow. He is also available in the legendary chest. So you can get Moctezuma from the legendary chest as well. But, I mean, Moctezuma is definitely something that, it wasn't really a hype when this guy came in. I mean, like, it's crazy. I don't even think people even have... I mean, who has max Moctezuma? Maybe the whales have max Moctezuma, but I don't really see the whole value for having Moctezuma. So this is my number 1 in here. For number 1 pick is that Moctezuma is one of those, like, garbage commander in Rise of Kingdoms. Like, even think about it, like, Rise of Kingdoms did make some commanders in here that are not really that great. I mean, when it first came out, and then long term. I mean, some of them had low lifespan in the game. Now, the next one I'm going to put in here is very interesting. It is Cavs. I kind of want to go for Bertrand. Now, we've seen Bertrand a little bit, but I feel like Bertrand is not as dominating that... Some people might disagree with me, but when we look at the KVKs, you don't really see Bertrand. It's actually not Bertrand. Bertrand de Gusselin. It was kind of hype up when this guy came out, but really not a whole lot of excitement. Really, we don't really see a whole lot of players using this guy as well. The lifespan for this dude was also shortcoming. I don't even know how many people have maxed out Bertrand, and maybe this guy is being used, but we don't really see a whole lot. We still see the reliable commanders that goes for the Xiang Yu type of setup. I mean, this is like a legit investment, right? We see Joan of Arc. When Joan of Arc came, wonderful, right? Joan of Arc Prime. I don't have Joan of Arc. We have Alexander Nevsky as well, right? Nevsky is also an amazing one in here. I mean, these are some of the good investment for the Cavs. But Bertrand, come on. I feel like, yeah, really, this is a short-lived commander in Rise of Kingdoms. I don't know if you guys agree with me or disagree, but let me know. My third pick in here would go for Suleiman. This guy is a leadership, conquering, and attack commander. Interesting, buff in here with the direct damage factor of 1300, defense, enemy reduction in here, enemy health reduction, 30%. But many people really, I think when Suleiman was introduced, this was right around when I was in 14-12, I think, or near the end where Baba was leaving, I think, or something like that. But Baba ended up, like, I think, very, very excited on getting Suleiman because it is a Turkish commander. But at this point, nobody really used this. Like, nobody rallies with the leadership talent tree. I mean, the leadership is being used in, like, the defense, but in the rally, people are still doing, like, single unit troop type. So the introduction of Rise of Kingdoms for Suleiman was, I think, not really long-lived. So this is one thing that I really want to mention to you guys as you guys are watching this video, is that, you can avoid these commanders and not waste any of your time and effort, speed ups, whatever resources, sculptures, to invest in these type of commanders, because they are not really that great in the game. All right. Yeah, Suleiman, not really widely used. I don't think I've ever seen it in KVKs at all. Very rare, I think, maybe when it just first came out, but did not have a long shelf life in Rise of Kingdoms. Number 4. Now, this makes it a little bit hard because there's still also like a lot of like legendary commanders that are good. I kind of want to go for the introduction of Ragnar Lordbrook. This was, not great as well. There's kind of theme in here with the leadership, Pat. This is another, like, not that good in the game. Actually, when Tutmos was introduced, this was actually more loved by the players in Season 1. But Ragnar Lordbrook in here, really not that great. The introduction for this was based on the Game of Thrones type of thing. It was to bring in excitement for players to come in and play Rise of Kingdoms. But again, certain things in here with the game, unsuccessful brought out of commanders that are not really widely used by the player base. Another thing that I would say is maybe this is now number 5 is Lubu. Again, I think there was some content creators who've even recommended to get Lubu before. I've never really recommended Lubu. This is one of those waste commanders that you can work on. Lubu is the Dynasty Warriors collaboration that Rise of Kingdoms did. Again, this is not that great. It's absolutely like trash. So if you guys are working on that Lubu method, I hope that you guys didn't. I hope that when you look into your account, you don't have a max Lubu, because when you look into it, you just know that you wasted your sculptures. And I don't know where you guys got that idea from, but it is definitely not a good idea to really work on Lubu. I mean, I can guarantee you that you didn't even use your Lubu, and you're not using Lubu at this very second when you're going to fight. So those are my top 5 that I think that are absolutely like trash in Rise of Kingdoms that, I don't understand why people work on it. Now, I'm going to add a few more stuff in here that I can try to, sway you guys away from investing. From Season 1, you will have Frederick. Please try not to invest on this guy. No use. All right, I have it maxed out, but I don't really use this guy. See, look, we have 100k kills only. No bueno, all right? You can invest in other ones in here. Save your sculptures, invest into the future. El Cid, this is another commander. I mean, I work on El Cid because back in the day, there was not a lot of archer commanders out there. So I use El Cid. So you'll actually see some usage from El Cid, 5 million kills. But, knowing what's coming up, this is a commander that you don't need to work on. You don't need to invest in here. El Cid is definitely not something that you want in the game. Now, some of those commanders are available, for, of course, in the gold chest in here, right? So if we go into gold chest in here, you can see in the rewards for the gold chest, you're going to be able to get these commanders, right? On the side here, you get El Cid in there as well. Any of the gold chest commanders, I wouldn't recommend that you guys work on it or drop any sculptures. I would say an exception would probably be Tao Tao or Martel, all right? Julius Caesar is another trash commander in my opinion. I mean, it works in Season 1 for the whales, but again, not great in long term. You won't probably use it in long term. Mehmed have some slight usage. I've seen Mehmed used predominantly in the canyons, so we can definitely say that that was a A-OK commander. So I'm just sharing you guys my experiences in here. Edward of Woodstock, I mentioned this before, can be skipped. It's kind of like paper. It doesn't have a lot of like ability to tank in here. It's kind of hard with the fighting in the long term. Some of you guys will be very excited to get Edward, but long term, it's not going to do you that well. But I'm not going to say he's trash because he served some great purposes in a situational basis. I would say the ones that we early talked about, I'd say the first ones that we talked about earlier were definitely trash commanders in Rise of Kingdoms. Now, there are other commanders here that are actually not that great, that are not being, widely used anymore, especially the garrison commander. So looking forward in here into the future, what will happen to Dido? I wonder if our community will accept Dido and actually use Dido to, be one of the best garrison defender. We have to see how she performs in the battlefield still before we can really say that she is going to be good. But we've seen garrisons that were not predominantly used. You know, I've seen a few Jadwiga, but not a whole lot of Jadwiga now. I mean, since Janziska was introduced, it was overlapped. So, you know, people will do a combination with YSS with what we have seen to allow mixed troops. So I am just curious. Maybe you guys can give me your opinion. What do you think what will happen with Ditto in the future in Rise of Kingdoms? So hopefully this video is actually helpful to you guys. Smack like as you guys head out. Thank you guys for watching. I'll see you guys again next time.